Good morning. My name is Craig Jameson, and I'm coming to you from Sales Results LLC in Boise, Idaho, and we are a Nimble Social CRM solution partner. And today I wanted to give you a little bit of a demonstration of how tightly integrated Nimble has taken social networking into a traditional CRM. Now, I was trying to explain this to a friend of mine the other day, and I probably didn't do a really good job, because he came away with the impression that Nimble may be so much like some other social network aggregators that might be available on the market. One that comes to mind that I'm quite familiar with is Gist, which is a very good product. And then there are also people, and as a matter of fact, I read an article recently that had been done on Nimble where they made a comparison of it to Hootsuite. If you're not familiar, Hootsuite is a very similar product to TweetDeck or Seismic, which started off as being what they call Twitter clients, and now basically gives you the ability to really monitor and interact with your social networks, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and certainly Nimble does have that capability, but Nimble does take it to the next level, and that's integrate that information into a CRM or a customer relationship management application, along with the features and benefits that are associated with that type of a tool. So let's see how that works. First of all, what I'm doing here is right now I'm on Nimble's Social tab. Now the Social tab is reflective of all of the people that I am connected with within my social network. So that would include Twitter, that would include Facebook, that would include LinkedIn. And this is their current social stream for everybody. So as I look here, I can see I'm at the All section up here. I can see some LinkedIn updates that are coming through. As I scroll down, we'll see other updates that are coming from the other networks here. So here's something from Facebook, some more LinkedIn, some more Facebook activity. We'll continue to scroll down here. Here we see some Twitter activity. So let's just take a look at this tweet here from John Fazio. Twitter gives me a lot of different, or Nimble gives me a lot of different capabilities in working with a tweet. I could look at this individual. I can interact. I can send a reply message or an @ message. I can retweet. I also have several other options that I can do, which are exposed through this drop-down menu. I can reply or create a direct message. I can add it to my favorites. I can also create a task off of any tweet. So say, for example, this particular tweet was talking nice about my company, or maybe it was having a problem with one of my products. I can take that tweet or a Facebook update or a LinkedIn update. I can create a task from that, and I could assign that, for example, to another one of my team members for follow-up. I can also take that tweet or update and I can create an email off of that, and I can send that to whoever. For example, one of the things that I like to do is I like to monitor the networks to look to opportunities for my clients. I find an opportunity, I create an email from that and say, hey, look, I was on Nimble, I was taking a look around, I saw this, I thought it might be something that might be of interest to you. Or, by the same token, it could be, hey, somebody's having a problem with your product or service, you may want to get at it. Well, believe me, that scores me huge points in building relationships with my clients, and that's what Nimble is all about. What I'm going to do here, I can also, I'm going to scroll back up here, I can just look at Twitter, I can look at just Facebook, I can just look at LinkedIn. I'm going to take a look at the Twitter stream right now. And let's take a look here. I'm going to look for somebody that maybe I communicate with fairly often. Well, here, let's take a look at Neil. Neil Schaefer, he's the president of Windmill Networking down in California, Southern California. He's also got an excellent book on maximizing LinkedIn, which is available on Amazon, and I would highly suggest that if you're not connected with Neil, that's at Neil Schaefer, NEAL-SCHAFFER, you might want to do that. Let's take a closer look at Neil. Just by clicking the person icon, here gives me Neil's statistics, out of Orange County, California. Here's his website. Here's a description of him. Here's his tweeting patterns. It shows right now that I could unfollow Neil. I follow Neil, so if I wanted to choose to unfollow him, which I would never do, I could do that. On the other hand, if I wasn't following this person, well, they wouldn't appear in my social stream. But that's not exactly true with Nimble, because I can also look at who somebody that I am connected to talks to within their social stream. So for example, I can come over here and I'd say, oh, interesting, Neil did a retweet for famous bloggers. This is interesting. I can look at what their who they follow, number of followers, tweets, their clout score fairly high. I can choose right now if I want to say, well, this is somebody that Neil feels pretty strongly about. I'm going to follow these people right now. And I have basically just done that just by clicking that button. But so this is Neil's stream on Twitter. I also can get his Facebook stream. I can interact with it, just as I showed you before. I can reply. I can send a retweet or do a retweet. I can do the same additional actions. I can create a direct message. I can star it. I can create a task. I can email it. Over here on the sidebar here is the information that I have on Neil within my CRM. Okay, this is critical. Okay, Neil is a contact record within Nimble SCRM, Customer Relationship Management. So it tells me Neil. It tells me the different Twitter accounts that we're connected on. It gives me his Facebook profile. And it would also give me his LinkedIn profile. So right here, even though I'm looking at simply a tweet that came off of Neil, I'm also looking at all the information that I need to know about within his other social networks, those being Facebook and LinkedIn. But here's where the real power is. If I'm using Hootsuite or I'm using TweetDeck or I'm using Seismic, it's great. I mean, I'm looking in there. I can see when people send me an @ message. I can see when people send me a direct message. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to track the conversation. Let's click on Neil's record here just by clicking on his name, and it goes to Nimble's consolidated contact record. And look what we've got here. Neil and I talk on both email and on Twitter, and I have a record of all those conversations right here within Neil's contact record. This is the key element here. I'm able to track, and I'm also able to congregate all of my messaging activity within one simple record here. So here's direct message that came from Neil. As I go down here, I can show more. Let's go down here, direct messages that I've sent to Neil. Here are @ messages. So these are just replies. These are public messages where there's Twitter direct messages there. And we also, as we go down here, we'll find we're going more here. Here's some email that we've exchanged. If we'd exchange messages on Facebook, on LinkedIn, it would be here. If I had tasks that were associated with Neil, it would be here. If I had an event, or if I had a follow-up, or if I had a note following a meeting, it would be right here within Neil's contact record. And that is what Nimble is all about. Right from here, I can send Neil a message. I can send him a direct message on Facebook. I can send him an email. I can send him a direct message on Twitter. I can send him an @ message on Twitter. I can send him a direct message on LinkedIn. Incidentally, I had that ability back there when I was working within the general social stream. Here is Neil's specific social stream. Whereas when I was on the social tab over here, it showed me everybody's social stream. This is what Neil is talking about right now. So that's the key difference between Nimble and something like a social aggregator or something like a Twitter client, say like a Hootsuite or a TweetDeck or a Seismic. And I thank you so much for sitting in this morning.